Hello, I think we're live. So I've got a few of you here already. You've been waiting for me to join. Who have I got? Lynn, Michelle, Rebecca, Tom, Sarah, Lou, Freddie, Evelyn. Lovely. Okay, welcome. Well done for being on time. That's amazing. And it's really, really nice to be working once again with the Bodhi Tree. Thank you so much, Lou, for inviting me back. It was quite a while ago that I did the talk on anxiety, which I loved, in your studio, your gorgeous studio. So I know that we're all missing the studio, and you know, it will be back soon. And what is lovely is that Lou is putting on all these sessions for you to join. And one of them is me today, talking to you about our emotions and how to shift ourselves, finishing with a meditation. But I'm also going to be doing a gentle yoga class as well next Monday at 12, a healing gentle yoga. So before we get into everything, just in case there's anybody else that's about to jump on, I just want to ask you how you are, okay? How you're feeling. And I'm going to open that little chat box here, so from time to time you'll see me just looking at the chat. Feel free to ask me any questions and I will try to look at as many messages in your chat box as I can. So while you're just typing away there, if you want to say hello or whichever, certainly we are waking up either feeling wow, suddenly amazing today, where did that come from, and other days quite the opposite, aren't we? And it's just so random. One day when we're feeling great and we're thinking, yeah, I've got a rhythm with this, it's going really well, and then the next day out of the blue you just feel completely rubbish. Now what I'd like to share with you at this point is that it's can either be the situation that we are in at the time, which is this, right? Building little bits of pressure, niggling and getting louder and louder. Or in some cases, it can be deeper than that. So I want to reassure you that it is completely normal to be feeling completely off kilter and all over the place and not knowing where you are from one day to another. And a lot of this is just because we're feeling trapped, for want of a better word, because anxiety is when you do feel trapped. So a lot of the situation that we are in at the moment is about trying to find our empowerment in any situation. One of the things that I have certainly seen, observed, or really feel that is happening at the moment is that we are all being faced with our biggest life lessons. It's like everything is exaggerated. So whether you tend to overwhelm yourself, because this is certainly one of my issues, in this kind of situation, it's likely that you will do that way more than you normally would. So I've been going through that with me, and I've been listening to what I've been saying to myself to try and bring my natural coping mechanism down, which is keeping myself busy and overwhelming myself. So you might be familiar with that. Does anybody else feel those things? Is the chat on? Hopefully it's coming through on the chat. Can you hear me okay? Am I visual? Can you see and hear me fine? And for other people, I've kind of noticed that there's like three groups of people. I mean, I know that's very generic, but you've got the people that are feeling overwhelmed and there's not even enough time to make a cup of tea. Maybe they've got young kids or so on and so forth. You've got people that are maybe living on their own and are left with their own mind and headspace and listening to the things that you're saying to yourself. And then there's like those that are having to go to work, like the key workers. And each group are struggling with very different things, but at the same time, your own life lesson. So before I go a little bit further into it, I just wanted to kind of go through why I do what I do and what I do. So if you don't know me, my name is Nick and I run Inspire Rewire. And we create a space for wellness, and that is through either wellbeing festivals, retreats, or mini events. And I do a lot around anxiety, and that is because of my own experience with it, my own experience with burnout and fatigue. So I really know where you're coming from. But I've also spent a lot of years by myself as well. So over the years, I've had various different experiences, which I won't go into now because it is a long story. And we all have our own life stories that has brought us to where we are. Mine came through spending many years in corporate, which eventually burnt me out. And I used to blame corporate a lot for this. But as I've developed through my own healing journey, I recognize that a big part of that was my own mindset and how I think about things and how my mind kind of goes at 100 miles an hour, and trying to, on the one hand, accept that as part of my character and as part of my nature or upbringing or whichever, and as on the other hand is to tweak little bits, to learn, to grow. So sometimes we just have to bring those two hands together, because that is us as a whole. Okay, that is, it's about accepting all the different sides of us and choosing which ones that we want to maybe develop a little bit. So that's what I kind of specialize in. As I say, it's a tip of the iceberg of all the different things that I've been through. You know, there's grief, there's trauma, I've had adrenal fatigue, it goes on. But what I want to do is focus on practical tips and exercises, because that is what I'm about. And I'll come on to my definition of mindfulness in a moment. But it's these tough times that we go through that actually builds resilience. So we can choose, can't we, two paths to go down when big things hit us. And we can go further down, or we can choose and use it as an opportunity, a learning, a process. It doesn't mean that we can do it straight away. And it doesn't mean that we have to suppress our emotions. It's not about that. I want to remind you that it's okay to feel sad, to feel angry, to feel grief, whatever you are experiencing at the moment. What we don't want to do is suppress those feelings, because when we suppress them, we're actually piling crap on top of crap, which are called meta emotions, when we're putting something on top of something else, and we can never really get to the bottom. And that bottom feeling is just a genuine emotion that needs to be expressed, that needs to move through. That's why we call it emotion. Sometimes that moving through is crying and letting it out that way. Sometimes we let it out through yoga, sometimes through the breath, sometimes through a conversation, sometimes through our hobby. All these different tools are for you to explore what works for you. But either way, it's about pausing and listening to yourself. And I'll come on to that. So when I moved back from corporate, I lived in Dubai for 8 years, and I traveled all around the Middle East and Africa and the Far East. And I loved it. I loved it. But as much as it ticked a lot of boxes for me, my health was deteriorating more and more. I wasn't listening to what I was saying to myself. And so it took a really long time. It took years to come back from that adrenal fatigue. But the journey started when I left Dubai. Well, I'd been retraining in various different things for a long time: hypnotherapy, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and Reiki master. But when I left Dubai, I kind of started my own deeper self-discovery. I spent 3 months in India where I did my yoga teacher training, and I did a lot of contemplation. I was there on my own. I finished my hypno training there in India. And from this contemplation, which I still do now, which I believe for me is the biggest part of my yoga experience. Everyone's yoga practice is different, but certainly the mind-based stuff is where I'm at. For those of you that know, it's called the Jnana Yogi, which is about self-contemplation and contemplation of life. And so you'll find yourself in one of 4 different categories of yoga, and sometimes a little bit of all, which is something we can maybe talk about another time. I love talking about yoga philosophy, and that's why I wanted to come on to the 5 yogic principles today. But from this contemplation, from this deep kind of self-insight of spending time on my own, I came to the conclusion about my own understanding of what mindfulness is. Now, there are no rights or wrongs for your definition of mindfulness. Of course, when we talk about it, we think about meditation, of course, because it is such a lovely way to come back to the now, and we will do a meditation very soon. But for me, it's more about when we are feeling these high, intense feelings, how on earth do we shift ourselves from those feelings and into the now? So I'm really about this practical approach to mindfulness. So if we're feeling rage, if we're feeling deep grief, and we are advised to feel good, be positive, calm down, it's not going to happen, is it? And one of the reasons for that is because we are tapping in at that point to our primal instinct. We're tapping into our fight and flight. And so we are trying to use our cortex thinking mind to talk to the body. And the body is not going to listen because the body's reactions are so primal that they move at the speed of lightning. That's why if you're on a motorway and there's somebody coming towards you, you swerve really quickly. You don't have the time to think about it. It just happens. It's an instant reaction for your survival. So if you're trying to tell yourself to calm down or to cheer up or whichever it is that you're feeling, it's not going to happen straight away. We have to talk to the body. That's why yoga and meditation is such a lovely way to bring you back to calm. When you are back to calm, that's when you can have a proper conversation with yourself and you can start to say, right, let's look at this. Is this just because I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed right now? Is this because I can't find my me time? Or is this because I'm feeling a bit flat? And if it's not that, if it's a pattern, then maybe I'll look at that a little bit deeper at some point when I'm ready, right? So this is why my definition of mindfulness starts with pausing. Okay, the pause. What is happening in my body and what am I feeling? And trying to just gently reassure yourself that to have those feelings is okay and you can work through it and they will pass. Trying to find something that helps you pass that, such as breathing in for 4 and breathing out for 8, or your yoga or so on. When you pause, now I have a whole kind of workshop on how to pause. I have a whole workshop on how to check in on yourself. So the second point is how to check in on yourself. What's my heart doing? What's my breath doing? What am I feeling in my belly? What's going on in my mind without judgment? And that is why mindfulness meditation is such a good one, because you are training your mind to just look, to just observe what is going on. Now, with that new information, you can make a new choice. So those are the 3 things. And there's so much information about those 3 different things. But essentially, as long as you remember, pause, oh my goodness, I'm completely out of balance, or I'm running around like a headless chicken, or I'm feeling completely lethargic and fatigued or down. That is the situation. What is going on? And then make a choice. So because of that, what I try to do with people is, my mission basically in life is to help other people to be their own guru, because the answers are always inside. You know this. This is why the slogan to my company for so long was, you are what you are looking for. What happens? We make ourselves busy because we don't want to hear the negative thoughts, because we feel we should be positive all the time, when actually those feelings are part of the whole process of moving through, of healing, of honouring yourself. I even have a blog about this. It's called Positive People Are Always Positive, Aren't They? No. No, they are not, but they have found a way to shift out of things a little bit smoother and a little bit easier. Why? Because they've spent a bit of time getting to know themselves and not judging their genuine feelings and thoughts. So what I try to do is help people to look at different types of things that can help them. Not everything will resonate with everybody. So today I've chosen a few different techniques that I thought might suit this audience, because it's with the Bodhi tree. So it's people that will definitely be, practicing some kind of yoga, whether it's the practical side of yoga or the philosophy or the cleansing techniques or so on. So those are the ones that I'm going to share with you. But first, I wanted to talk to you very, very briefly, because it's not a difficult concept at all. Thousands of years in the making, in the knowing, is the 5 basic principles of yoga. So you've got nutrition, and I know Louise herself is a nutritionist, which is amazing. Breathing, or pranayama, that you might be more familiar with. Exercise, mindset, and relaxation. And usually before that is called proper nutrition, proper breathing, proper mindset, proper relaxation. and proper exercise. So different types of exercise work for different people. I practice a very gentle meditative healing yoga with mindfulness. So it's like hypnotherapy, that kind of thing. Somebody else might prefer a more power type yoga. And a lot of this is about understanding your constitution, such as your Ayurvedic constitution. And that is that step 2. Pause, check in with yourself, make a new choice, right? So there's so many different ways to check in with yourself. There's even psychometric tests, there's some lovely exercises that I've been doing through my 10-day reset. Some of you are here today that joined me last week on my 10-day reset group. My next one is starting on Wednesday. And I just share with you some of these techniques and things. But my main point of these 5 principles of yoga is that it's very unlikely that we're going to be hitting all 5 of them all the time, isn't it? Even if we spent years meditating and stepping out of society, you're still going to be in a community. You're still going to be faced with challenges that trigger you inside. So trying to get your nutrition, your breathing, your relaxation in, even though it's very basic 5 for your health, for your healing, it's not easy to do them. So my message to you on this is choose one. When you are feeling either overwhelmed or fatigued, and you recognize that something needs to shift, because sometimes it's okay to just feel rubbish for a while. Only you know when it's time to shift it. Everybody has a bad day, but has that bad day turned into a few days? Has those few days turned into a few weeks? Only you know when it's time to go, come on, it's not quite right. Your inner self, your higher self knows the answers to everything. So when you're ready, choose one of them and choose the easiest one. Why do we make things so hard for ourselves? It's like when you think, I want to get back into healthy eating. So you cut out everything: caffeine, alcohol, carbs, dairy, you cut it all out, and then you go, right, I'm going to exercise 5 times a week. How many of us do this? We do, don't we? We go, right. And it's because we start off with such positive intentions, which is wonderful. But in reality, you're actually using that bodily function. You're in your fight and flight, you're excited and ready to go. But when all that kind of settles down a bit, either you don't start at all because it's too overwhelming, so you procrastinate, or you start, but chances are you don't reach that goal because the expectations are way too high on yourself. So then you actually reinforce a belief about yourself that you're not good enough, right? How many of us can relate to this? So the biggest tip and the biggest learning I think that we can have is by taking things baby steps. So you choose one. You choose the one that you love the most, the easiest one for you. If that means relaxation, then you start adding a bit of relaxation in every day. If for you it's about shifting your food habits, then start with one day, maybe taking a lighter meal and still having something a little bit cheeky later on. Step by step, because you want to get that dopamine when you hit your target. And if you hit it too high, if you set it too high, you're not going to hit it and you're going to be going down that spiral. So I want to leave you here before we go into a little meditation of some of the specific tips that I've just popped down for you here. I've got it on the side here. So when you are feeling overwhelmed, I've given you, I'm going to give you a breathing one for this. You might have seen it before. It's called the Bumblebee. It's one of my favorites. So if there's too much noise around you, or even there's too much silence, okay, because if you're living on your own, that can be the case. You just want to cut off from everything. You can put your thumbs over your ears, really press them in, and then you would put your hands over your eyes with a little bit of pressure, which is quite soothing. And then you but with your mouth closed. So you're going to be like humming. I'm just going to give you this one example and then you can do it later. So with a whole breath, you continue that for a whole exhale, and it just feels like resonating all through your head, And when you come out of it, you feel very light, and it doesn't take long, maybe 3 deep ums. So another one I've got for you, which I often do in my yoga classes, and if you do have space to stand up, I would recommend to do it, and we can do it together a little bit now. I've got a bit of space. Well, I'll just kind of come forward. So with this one, I throw out the anxiety through my fingertips. So I inhale everything that I want to release, mind, body, and soul, out through the mouth, really quite dramatically. So we'll do that together 2 more times. Inhaling. Really throw it out and feel that tingling feeling in the body. It's so nice. One more time. And take a deep breath. And release. Oh, how lovely is that? I love that one. And I've got a really nice one for you to do, a meditative one in the morning, which is one of the tips that I did on my 10-day reset. And it's called Cleanse, Tone and Protect. So this one is a lovely way to start the day with an intention. So when you get into the shower and you're washing your hair or whatever, imagine that you're cleansing away any negativity or anything that you're not feeling. Remember, there's a difference between suppressing negativity and allowing it to just come up and move out. So you're cleansing through your system. Then you tone. So the tone is, okay, well, what do I want to bring into the day? What is my intention for the day? Again, lower expectations. It could just be patience. It could just be courage, creativity, and just bring that in. And then the protect is just having that bubble around you and just making sure that you're keeping yourself high and light and whatever it is that you want to feel. So have a go at some of those things. As I say, I've kept it quite yogic for those of you today, but there's also various different ones if you're not a meditation person or you prefer to do things a bit more hands-on, like with NLP techniques, neuro-linguistic programming, and so on. So I hope that was really useful for you. I hope that at least it gave you some reassurance that we are all experiencing the same things. As always, I never have a plan for my meditation. I just kind of go with what is coming up at the moment. So I'm going to do 5-minute meditation for you. Doesn't take long, just to allow yourself to relax. Oh, here everyone, your messages have just come up. So let me just have a quick look through before I go into it. Nursery is the perfect subject. We've been locked down internationally and locally, so it can set in. Absolutely. And I just want to say, sometimes you can mix it up between just have a lazy day, have a duvet day, and then another day go, right, today I think I'll be active, because we lose our energy because we're generally not as active as normal. So don't underestimate how much your fitness level even can come down. So Lou says she's feeling a lot more human today. Demotivated and stressed with the kids, absolutely. The little ones can just drive you up the wall, and so it's trying to have in your mind knowing that this is your time, this half an hour or this hour or even 15 minutes where you can just calm that whole cortisol and adrenaline down. So here we have I'm already like it. Oh, bless you. Thank you, Evelyn. Still feeling the benefits of your 10-day reset. Thank you. It's good to have reminders. Exactly. So this is some of the stuff that we talk about. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, Vicky. Hello, Vicky. Okay. Overwhelmed. Yes. And even if you are in industry like myself, these things happen. Don't fall under that concept that everyone is all peaceful and light, because it is not the case. So take some heat off yourself when you have those bad days and just keep exploring what works for you, right? If you don't catch your red flags and you start to go down that spiral, and they usually habitual tools don't work, like your yoga or your meditation, and you've gone beyond that, you know, you just do what you can to get through, and then start again fresh in the morning and go, right, how is today going to go? So let's get comfortable. Now we have to just bring the energy down, the frequency down. When we've been talking, listening and participating, I tend to plan too much. Right, I'm a planner too, Catherine. I know that feeling. And I'll either go for, this is the dualistic universe that we're living in, isn't it? It's what Buddha says. So we either go one extreme or the other. And if we can just reduce that a little bit and just fluctuate in the middle from here and here instead of here to here. So I plan, or I throw it all out the window. So let's just practice that. And we just start to be aware of it. When we're aware of it, half the battle is done, because then we can do something with it. So let's praise ourselves and thank ourselves for actually noticing in the first place. And that is mindfulness meditation. So maybe we'll practice that today. So let's just bring it all down. And you can close your eyes whenever you want to. Otherwise, we can just start by rolling the shoulders as we take the shoulders up on the inhale, back, down, and exhale. Inhale up, back, and down. So when we start to slow the body, when we try to match it with the breath, it's almost like a subtle enforcement of the body and the mind slowing down as well. And the breath. It might feel a bit slow for some of you, so go at your own pace and just reduce the speed when you're ready. You can also place the hands on the shoulders if you like. Exhaling down, lots of clicks and creaks. I like to really open out my arms and that sense of freedom. As long as I don't knock the plant over, then we're all good. Inhaling. Good. So we're just doing a few minutes today, but I am doing a nice long meditation tonight at 7:30. So join me if you'd like, it's on my page. But for now, let's just take a few moments. That's all it takes. As you inhale in through your nose and out. And you can breathe either out through the nose or out through the mouth. There's no rights or wrongs here. Just whatever gives you that most peace. Every exhale, just see if you can drop your shoulders. Inhaling the intention to relax without any pressure, without any expectation. Inhaling and exhaling, softening the belly, dissolving any knots or tension there. Just giving yourself permission, allowing yourself to just let go of the fight of the body and soften. Softening the muscles of the body. And as we soften further, we soften the mind. The mind becomes calmer, even if it's flitting from here to there. Normal. Release any judgment. Take a deep breath of acceptance in this moment. Release any judgment on the exhale. With your next exhale, releasing tension from the face. Any expression. Just melting down through the forehead, eyes, and the jaw. Body's feeling wonderfully heavy. The mind and the consciousness feeling lighter and lighter. Just feeling that beautiful bliss washing over you from time to time. Sometimes feeling awake and aware, and other times just losing yourself. Maybe even my voice drifts away. Either way is fine. There's no rights or wrongs. Just for a minute or two, we're just going to practice training that mind with mindfulness. We choose an anchor, and the anchor today is going to be counting in for 4 and out for just a little bit longer than your inhale. In for 4 and out for a little bit longer. And when we do this, we bring in oxytocin into the body, the love hormone that naturally just helps to release that cortisol and adrenaline. So as you're counting in your breath, in your mind now, as your anchor, become aware when the mind shifts and starts to think about something, starts to question, or brings in different feelings, which are all normal and natural. Sometimes they can be troubling thoughts, sometimes just random thoughts. And as you continue to count, anytime you notice yourself drifting away, just praise yourself for noticing. Bring yourself back to the counting. Just for a minute or two. Sometimes we don't even notice that the mind has wandered. And suddenly we realize we've gone very far for a very long time. Again, no judgment. Just bring yourself back, praising yourself that you did notice. And continue counting in for 4 and out for a little bit longer. Just a little bit of pranayama, gentle control of the breath. So all it takes is just a little bit of practice, like anything, to bring our mind back into the now, to feel that empowerment with our own mind. So now I want you to just let that go and think about anything that you want to. You can analyze, question, think about anything, and just wait for the very next thought that comes into your mind. Isn't it interesting how when we take the expectations off ourselves, and the pressure, that we actually achieve more, that we actually just allow ourselves to be and then can enjoy it. Take a deep breath with that. Keep that knowledge with you, deep in your subconscious, that wisdom that you have inside of yourself always. And that stillness. There's always sunshine above the clouds. Keep that with you as I count you slowly back from 1 to 3. And at 3, you'll be feeling so much more relaxed in your body. More of those feel-good hormones floating around. The nervous system will have had a rest. The mind, the heartbeat, the breath. So with 1, starting to think about coming back. With 2, wiggling fingers and toes. Deep breath as you roll your shoulders. Maybe even a stretch. And 3, opening your eyes, coming back into the here and now. And just taking your time to come round. Stay in that energy as long as you can. Let's bring back that concept of transitioning from one thing to another, from one yoga posture to another, from one activity to another, from resting to moving, from moving to resting. Keep that with you. And if you would like to join me tonight, I'll drop the links in the event itself and on my page, but it's Inspire Rewire on Facebook. And I will see you anyway on Monday for the 12 o'clock gentle yoga session. It's only half an hour followed by 10 minutes of relaxation. So, thanks, Tom. I'll just hang about for a few minutes while you send anything you want to, and I'll just pop my Facebook and things in here so you can just easily access it. I feel quite relaxed myself now as well. Lovely light. That's the web. Thank you, Catherine. You're welcome. Hannah, beautiful. You're welcome, Michelle. Evelyn, lovely. Yeah, welcome, Lou. Thank you so much for inviting me and sharing all your wonderful things on the Bodhi Tree page. You're welcome, Katie. It is amazing, isn't it, Tom, how we can just quickly get back to ourselves. Tom does a beautiful Tai Chi session, by the way. Thomas Stacey, you can find him as, or Tom Shanti. He's got such a wonderful background studying as a monk. Oh my goodness, his session this morning was lovely. Maybe you can have him on, Lou. I think he would love to do that. Thank you, Marina. Lovely to see you here. You're welcome, Rebecca, Lynn, pleasure. Yeah. At the moment, I've got all my meditations and my yoga classes on YouTube as well, by the way. They won't be up there, all of them, for too much longer, but during this lockdown, I've just opened them all up for people to access whenever they want. There's a really nice yoga from your bed video, because let's face it, sometimes we just can't be bothered, can we? And even getting up. So you can start by just hugging your knees, rocking from side to side, and then suddenly there's a really positive momentum that builds and you're there with energy. You're guilty of that. You're welcome, Diane. Glad you made it. Yeah. You're looking forward to seeing you all again as well, and in person, hopefully very soon. I do these little mini retreats, and as you know, I do retreats as well, and all sorts of bits. Me Time Festival was supposed to be in June, but that's postponed. But all the lovely people, including Lou from the Bodhi Tree, will be there at the Me Time Festival. all the wonderful people that I've been there on my healing journey, who I would personally recommend, will be there as well. You're welcome, Sarah. So I will leave you there for now, and yeah, keep in touch. I will see you soon. Have a lovely, lovely rest of your day, and if I don't see you, lovely weekend.